It's not going to work.
No.
We're too persistent.
Yep.
We don't take no for an answer.
There's some redeeming qualities in humans.
No.
You don't want to go to a movie and be like, they just killed us?
Daddy, why did they?
Yeah. Daddy, they killed all the humans.
I don't like the Na'vi.
Blue people.
Welcome to A Cast with No Name. We're your hosts. I'm Jay.
And I'm Matt.
This is episode 36. This episode is kind of a special one because it's something that happens only once every 12 to 13 years, seems like.
It's like an eclipse.
It is. It's a very special, when the stars align and something comes out.
Yeah. The technology catches up.
Finally.
Yeah. The planets align.
Yeah. The script is finally done.
Yeah.
So, James Cameron has a new movie out.
Thank God.
Avatar, The Return of the Smurfs. And we'll be talking about Avatar, The Way of Water. But first, don't forget to visit our website where you can catch up on all the other episodes, past episodes, all that good stuff. Of course, you could also find them on Spotify, Apple, whatever you're listening to, however you listen to it. I'm sure they have the full archive there because this is only episode 36, not 1,204. But
plenty of space on the database.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. But acastwithnoname.com is the website. You can also write to our email, ask us questions, comment on episodes, all that good stuff. So it came out this past weekend.
Yep. We were supposed to see it together.
We were.
And we didn't.
And you fucking bailed.
I know. I cried.
God.
A lot inside.
Like
I was super pissed.
You sent me the text. I was like, that bitch.
I didn't want to, but I felt bad leaving the wife with both kids, and I'd be gone for 8 hours. You know what I mean? It's not fair.
It happens. Such life with kids. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I already had all my babysitting cards already laid out. I used the deck too fast. I used my mom like 2 out of 5 days. I'm not going to ask her again for the third day. It just wasn't fair. So,
yep.
I saw it not on the IMAX screen, but on a regular, pitiful, teeny tiny, normal 3D screen.
Watched it on my iPod Nano.
Yeah. No, I just went to the normal movie theater that was showing it in 3D.
Got it. Do you know if it was high frame rate 3D?
I didn't notice it.
Okay.
I read a bunch of articles that people were complaining about it. I didn't notice it at all, really.
So I think I did. I didn't read into what the effect was, but some panning shots felt jittery.
Oh, okay.
Like something to where it didn't feel right, to where it almost stuttered slightly. I don't know if that's because I saw it in a proper IMAX, the full 4x4, whatever the ratio is.
Yeah, 100-foot tall screen.
Yeah, 2 projectors.
Nice.
It was glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite center, but close enough. But yeah, I noticed a slight shutter effect. I feel like I don't know if that was and I don't know if it was from changing to high frame rate or vice versa. I imagine they would have changed it on a cut as opposed to but I don't know.
Because he said he did that where on the 24 frames, when they switched to that, they did this trick where he just doubled the frame. So he would show the frame twice.
Yes.
Instead of it actually being shot in 48 frames a second, he would just show the same frame twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, because like close-up dialogue scenes, he just shot normal 24 frames, and then it was the higher end or higher action or faster pace visuals. He did the high frame rate.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that a technology limitation? Because it wasn't money, obviously.
No, I think it was probably just to keep from, because you get the soap opera effect because people associate higher frame rates with soap operas, and that came from film is classically done in 24 frames a second, and then 30 frames a second, which is video. A lot of soap operas were shot on video because it was cheaper. So that's why you get that smoothness and it's just the flat look typically associated with soap operas. So when they do higher frame rates, then one, you have kind of a soap opera effect to where it almost looks too real, but you're also removing, with a higher frame rate, you're removing some motion blur from movement. And then also, once you get up to 60 frames per second, now you get into video game territory, to where a lot of gamers would prefer at least 60 frames a second. And that's like the best it can look, because everything is crisp and clear.
Hyper realistic.
Yeah. And which I've seen some videos on YouTube of content creators that have toyed with that, to where they would do like a 360, like third person view of themselves, but they would shoot it at 60 frames a second. And it looked odd, but I mean, it looked cool, but everything was like super clear, and there was very little motion blur, if anything. It just had a very peculiar look to it, to where it almost looked like a video game as opposed to video.
Just them sitting and talking?
No, it would be like somebody skateboarding down the street or something, and stuff like that. So I imagine the close-up, more intimate scenes that he shot at 24 frames a second, the reason he did that is probably because he didn't want people taken out from the fact that, oh, this looks too much like a soap opera, or too much like a video game, or something like to that effect. He probably wanted that more classic film look to it, would be my guess.
Gotcha.
For the more dramatic pieces of it.
So when was the last time you saw a movie in IMAX, though?
I think it was with you at the real IMAX.
Yeah, for
Force Awakens.
Oh, I wasn't with you with that.
You weren't?
No, I was in Hawaii.
You were in Hawaii?
I was in Hawaii.
Must have been a different Matt.
Yeah. The worst Matt?
Who the hell? Yeah, who the hell did I see it with? I know I saw it with him. There's some girl with me, I forget.
I think the last movie I saw in IMAX was Inception. I think so. Oh, no. That's false. Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Ghost Protocol. That we saw together.
Yeah.
But no, the last one I saw in IMAX was, Force Awakens.
Okay. Did you enjoy this more than The Force Awakens? The experience of it all?
Yeah, I felt like this fit IMAX better than what Force Awakens did, because I think it was just some scenes in Force Awakens were shot in IMAX as opposed to the whole movie. But again, technology was slightly still limited, because the sound of the IMAX cameras is pretty loud, so it's hard. Back several years ago, it was hard to do dialogue scenes with IMAX cameras because they're so damn loud. You'd get the...
And you could hear it?
Yeah. It would create camera noise. So that's why a lot of earlier movies like Ghost Protocol and Inception and even Interstellar weren't shot 100% in IMAX because of the sound at the time from those cameras. I
didn't know that.
I think they've dealt with it, because Avatar was shot completely
all in IMAX.
IMAX, of course, it's computer generated, so you can make whatever kind of resolution you want. But I think Oppenheimer, is shot all in IMAX. Tenet, I think, was shot all in IMAX. But
makes sense. It's Nolan. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah, and which I like it. I like IMAX. I think it's.
I do too.
I'm
super bummed that I couldn't go.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to it.
They played an Oppenheimer trailer before.
I finally saw that. The one that you're talking about. The one that I saw in the movie was different than the one that just released online today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited for IMAX, just because I've always liked the super wide composition shots, just ultra wide, very like if you could make letterbox TV to where you just have a 1 inch high visual frame, and then the rest of it is all.
That's what you want?
Yeah, I want as wide as possible.
Squinting at the TV.
But I love super wide compositions. But the trailer for Oppenheimer kind of got me excited because IMAX is it's not a 16:9 aspect ratio or a 2.1 something an ultra wide composite. It's a more of a square. It's like TV 4:3. It's more similar to that aspect ratio as opposed to a widescreen thing. But some of the shots in Oppenheimer look pretty good in 4:3. Yeah, But
I read that they, because we were speculating on what is he going to actually detonate a nuclear bomb. Apparently, they recreated something to make it look like it, like an actual mushroom cloud. I don't know how they did it, but they figured it out.
I wonder if they constructed a bomb that would have the same kind of atmospheric effect without, causing radiation everywhere.
I know. That guy's crazy. I don't know how he comes up with stuff like that.
But it's probably just dwindles down to where he gets it. He asks what he wants first, which is, all right, I want to set off a nuclear bomb. Well, you can't do that. How about a tiny one? No. An atomic bomb? No.
Yeah.
And then he probably just works his way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that'll be good. I wish they would pop up. I don't think they will, because I just think it would just be too damn expensive. But if they popped up more proper IMAXs throughout the world, I think it would be kind of cool.
It would be better for the world in general.
Yes.
I'd be fine with getting rid of all the theaters and just opening up one IMAX theater in a central location around where we live.
Yeah, per capita. So
after
once you draw a radius around, I don't know, let's just say every 300,000 people, you get an IMAX theater.
Yeah, it's fair.
With 5 screens.
Yeah.
And just have that be the standard.
That should be the standard. Good. Super disappointed I didn't get to see this, because I will say that the 3D was still great in the theater, just a normal theater.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. So let's dive into it. What were your first impressions?
Well,
let's do spoiler free first. What were just your thoughts?
Well, I had to rewatch the first one first.
Okay.
Because I'd only seen it once.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll touch on that. It wasn't as bad as the first one. Wasn't as bad as I remembered it being.
How did you remember it, and then what changed?
I remembered it just being bland and long and boring. And just had ridiculous visuals. Visuals still look good, especially for a 13-year-old movie. Some of the animals looked a little iffy. There were some effects that just didn't. It kind of showed its age a little bit. I wasn't happy. I wasn't completely happy with the jungle. I felt like it felt too neon. It didn't feel like an alien planet. It felt like a weird fever dream.
Like a painting?
Something, yeah. It was like a black light poster that those fuckboys had in college with like
the potheads?
Yeah, you got like the ICP, Insane Clown Posse shit. And it's all
you had one of those.
Neon. I had at least 4.
Yeah, you're a big fan.
Yeah, but it kind of looks similar to that. Still wasn't a fan of that. But I pinpointed what my issue was, and I'm pretty sure I knew that was the issue, but I'd only seen it one other time. Mm-hmm. I watched it a week before I saw the sequel, just to
refresh your mind.
Yeah. And there's some pieces that I just didn't remember, and I was like, oh, okay. I couldn't tell you what they were because the story was so simple, and still the story is still bland. Mm-hmm. Jake Sully is an idiot in the first movie. Probably the worst character ever. You were in the military,
mm-hmm.
and granted, he wasn't enlisted in the military, I don't think, because I think he was a veteran. He was injured.
Yes.
Couldn't afford to get his legs fixed, and they tapped him on the shoulder and said, go to Avatar because you share the same DNA with your twin brother.
Right, correct.
So we don't want to spend more money creating a new one for whatever reason. Right. We're going to get this dumbass to take his place instead, who's not even a scientist, is just a Marine,
just a
guy.
Dude.
So they take him there, doesn't read anything about the planet, so he doesn't know where he's at.
Yep.
He's unfamiliar with his environment. First time he's out in his body, he's like running around like a moron. First time he's in the environment, he's slapping plants and shit. And
he's like a child.
Yes. Yeah, he's just knocking shit over. And I was like, you would think you want to touch things, like things are poisonous. Things could harm you. Be more adult about it. But yeah, you
think they would have briefed him a little bit. Hey, when you get into this thing, don't fuck around because this is a lot of money.
Yeah. And
but Jay, he hadn't walked forever. He was just expressing his delight and his amazement.
Sure. And it's fine. But his line delivery, and I don't know if it was just because the environment he was in while they were making this movie, but his voiceover, extremely flat. Dull.
He's no Morgan Freeman.
And and his line delivery on a couple of things just seemed really, really forced. The other thing I wasn't a fan of is that the military people just seemed super broad. Like, just the way they speak felt like cliches. Like, they only spoke in cliches.
Right.
And
we're Oscar Mike, Charlie Foxtrot.
Yeah, let's do this high and tight.
High and
get
tight.
Home for dinner.
Yeah.
And
they don't. Yeah, we don't talk like that.
Yeah, are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
We're in the sub, getting some grub. Didn't mean to rhyme this time.
Yeah.
So that kind of bothered me, but it was mainly that character. Some things that I took away with it that I enjoyed more, Zoe Saldana's acting in the first one I thought was really good. And she was probably the best one in that movie.
Yeah. I like Stephen Lang too for what he was given.
Sure.
He plays that character pretty well.
Yeah. Michelle Rodriguez.
I completely forgot she was in it. Jesus. That's right. She's in it.
I laughed at the end when she painted her worship and her face when she shows up to fight in the final battle. And I'm like, all right, dumbass, you probably would have been a lot more valuable if you didn't give yourself a fucking way.
Right.
And you could just kind of sneak in there and just start taking other ships out.
Yeah, in terms of military tactics, that's pretty egregious. Yeah. Pretty dumb.
It reminded me of the Bill Burr joke to where he said, it was like right after Trump was elected president and Madonna was leading the women's march or something, and Bill Burr says like, oh, and you could tell Madonna was in a rebel mood because she had her on her beret. And that was the first thing that popped in my head when I saw Michelle Rodriguez like with paint on her fucking face and shit. Yeah. I was like, oh.
Oh boy.
But so it was still corny parts, but I overall wasn't as bad as I remember. After watching it, I don't know. I don't have the urge to watch it again for another long while. That may change once they make more movies.
Yeah.
But it is about as bland as I remember. Wasn't as bad as I remember it being. But I think what really stuck out is, I mean, the character Jake Sully was just not a good character to get behind. He was a child. I think Sam Worthington's line delivery was pretty rough in a lot of areas.
Do you think another actor could have elevated said character?
I was thinking, I was thinking because I'm aware that Matt Damon was approached to play that role, and the entire time I was watching, I was like, I feel like Matt Damon would have been a little bit more likable in this, or
he has more range, I think, as an actor.
Has more range, but I also think he would have a little bit more balls talking to James Cameron as far as if he had anything that he thinks should be changed to where, hey, maybe I should do this to professional actors do that. Not that Sam Worthington is not aware that he needs to be charismatic and likable, but I think at that phase in Sam Worthington's career and still now, I think he doesn't have any kind of basis to have a back and forth with James Cameron because of James Cameron's reputation of being so controlling and everything. I feel like Sam Worthington probably just did exactly as he was told because I mean, this was his big break and Matt Damon was a little bit more established. I feel like Matt Damon probably could have pushed back a little bit or at least done some things that would have been a little bit more effective.
Yeah, I think he, as an actor, has way more range, and because the character is so one note, a little bland. You need an actor to kind of elevate, especially in the sequel with family and him being the dad and the protector and all that stuff. He still reminded me of Jake from the first one, where It was like one note, and it could have been amplified a little bit if there was some emotional range in his acting.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I didn't mind his character as much in this one, but he wasn't a huge part of the sequel either.
No.
So
No.
But yeah, overall, like the first movie, I think my main issue is just the main character, and I think that's what probably a lot of other people's issue was, is that they couldn't connect with that kind of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the other thing, and we can get more into this when we talk about the sequel, but why people aren't clamming over them themselves with this story, I think is partly because maybe of the uncanny valley effect, to where I don't know if audiences are having trouble connecting to it, myself included at times, just because I was trying to think of a movie or a story on television or whatever, to where it follows non-humans that look completely different from humans as the main character, that isn't a cartoon, and to be invested in the story, to where I wonder if it looks so real at times people have trouble connecting, like to where we're used to doing that with animation, but or video games or something to that effect. Or if it's an alien in live action, at least they look similar enough to humans, like Spock or something that people can resonate with. Even Star Wars has a bunch of aliens in it, but you're connecting with the human character. To where I wonder if Avatar's drawback is kind of, okay, so now we're following these aliens that don't necessarily look like humans, and it's not, I mean, it's animated, but it's made to look very photorealistic. I wonder if that's the barrier that people are having trouble getting across subconsciously, that they're just like, I'm not into it, because they can't suspend that
Project
disbelief.
themselves on it. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe that's keeping up with the Kardashians, right? Where they're human, but not technically human.
Yes.
But you can project yourself being our Kardashian. No?
Well, no, I mean, very soon, because the lizard people came down
Yeah.
in, I think, 96.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, that could be it.
And when they took over the Kardashians.
Yeah, but I think that was more of like a train wreck.
Yes.
Well, I would think, but now I'm thinking about why people like the Kardashians.
Why do they? Yeah, I just instantly thought of that when you were like, like Star Wars, where there's human beings in it, and but there's also aliens. Like, what's the perfect like they're human, but they're not really. The Kardashians. Yes. But
yeah, let's get into The Way of Water.
So yeah, your first impressions.
I thought it was better in the first one.
Okay.
I enjoyed it more than the first one. It's still a long movie. The story is still basic. But it kind of focuses on his family now, and I think I was able to relate to that more.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's kind of smart to have his family be like the main central focal point, because if you have kids, then you can relate to it that way. If you just have siblings, you can relate to it that way. If you're an only child, you can relate. I mean, it's just, if you're a kid, you can relate to it. If you're an adult, it's a lot easier to relate to it with a family dynamic inserted. I enjoyed it more. I think the visuals obviously were great. I think the visuals in this movie worked better. The undersea visuals felt more real, to where the first one felt like the blacklight poster with the jungle and everything in neon, and not, okay, how are these luminescent things, like I felt like I needed more information. The undersea aspect of it felt a lot more real. And I liked it because of that. I think the skin texture of the Na'vi, there's like some extreme close-ups, which I don't know if that was, I would not be surprised if some of those shots were just tall, slender people that they just painted blue for like a close-up shot. I would probably, because it looked very, very real. Like you could see the pores, you could see the skin very, very
nuts,
well. Yeah. And so I wouldn't be surprised, because there was one shot of someone's stomach, and they had their belly button, I think. There, because you could see the pores, and then there was another close-up shot of someone's hand. I don't know if it was like clasping a wound or something, or maybe they were just kind of washing their hands, but it looked like painted fingers almost.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they mixed in some of that real photography with computer generation or not, but I thought the Navi looked a lot better more often. I think something that held back in the first one was the Navi looked good, except their clothes. If they were wearing clothes, it looked weird because the clothes looked super fake or cartoony. I felt like for 2009. But overall, I think the visuals worked a lot better. Story was simple, but I felt like it was more engaging than what the first one was. It didn't blow me away, but I didn't have very high expectations for this movie.
Yeah.
And I was very much prepared to where if it was as bland as the first one, to where I'd be like, well, I don't care. I'm not going to watch anymore.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So it piqued my interest enough to watch the next one.
I look forward to the third one at least.
Yeah, or at least be interested in watching the third one. If they move the main character to who I think they're going to move it to, or at least focus on this character more, I don't know if they'll make this person the main character. They may, but if they do, I think that would be great. But it might always just be Jake Sully because Avatar. But if they shift the focus to the main character, I think that would be a huge bonus. But I'm interested in the third one, so I'll watch the third one. So I figure in that sense, it exceeded my expectations. It's not going to change your life, but it's better than the first one.
Yeah.
And if you're going to see it, go see it in theater.
Yeah, I would agree.
So what was your...
I thought, as Gordon Ramsay would say, the visual effects were spectacular, so let's get that right. They were amazing. I think these are the best visual effects I've ever seen. They surpassed the original one for all the reasons you said. The first one had those spinning things that were bright orange and neon, and I think that was a limitation. They wanted it to pop on the screen to make it just the 3D extra special. This didn't have a lot of that. It was all realistic stuff, not necessarily crazy bright neon colors. It was more like whites and blues. So the technology was way better than it was in the first one.
Yeah.
The underwater scenes were incredible, especially when that's not a spoiler, but there's a battle scene with a ship, it's sinking, and all that stuff was awesome, crazy good. So yeah, if anything, if you want to go see like a visual treat, I would say this is worth seeing just for that reason. Even if the story sucked, you could at least immerse yourself in the world there.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's way too long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
3 hours and 15 minutes.
I know. And I in my notes I put they could have cut at least a half an hour, and I looked at the runtime in the first one, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. So just make it the same runtime as the first one.
It's long, but I felt like this movie moved quicker pace.
It did
than what the first one did.
I agree with you. It did.
And I will say, the acting of Zoe Saldana and Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, very good.
Phenomenal.
Very good.
I think they hit it out of the park. But yeah, some of the drawbacks, the dialogue.
Yeah, it was a little meh.
Yeah, is.
I think the story was okay, but I like the story centered on the family more than just Jake Sully. So I thought that was an improvement. I think that was intentional. I was reading something that this is like his Phantom Menace, where he's gearing it more towards kids, because this is definitely this audience for this movie in particular, I think is for like preteens. Because Loak, the middle son, is pretty much the main character in the movie, with his whole journey throughout the thing, and all the kids, and being bullied and that whole thing, and being going to a new school type of storyline that relates to preteens.
Fish out of water.
Yeah, but I think that was an interesting point. I think maybe he's trying to draw in the younger audience to guide them along the eventual 3 additional sequels to this. But I did enjoy that. I like, and again, it's probably because I have a family now, so I can relate to it. Story was okay. If I talk any more about it, it's like spoilers. So,
well,
but I agree with you. I liked it more than the first one. I thought it was better. And yeah, again, if I keep going, I'm gonna talk about spoiler stuff. So.
Yeah, all right.
I would recommend it. I would recommend going to see it.
Yeah, I'd recommend it too. It's not. I don't think.
Like you said, it's not going to change your life.
Yeah.
It's not a change your life story, but visually it's spectacular.
It was kind of refreshing to see the visual effects, because we talked about it yesterday, to where I was so used to Marvel shitty CGI, to where you see Robert Downey Jr.'s floaty head on Iron Man's body, and you just get so used to that crap, and you're like, oh god, visual effects. But I mean, the people that do those are just so much pressure,
overworked too,
and they don't get 13 years to make a sequel. So
no, you don't.
But the acting, I feel like the acting was a lot more engaging in this one.
Yeah.
Especially between Zoe Saldana and Sigourney Weaver.
I thought Sigourney Weaver, because she plays a teenager in the movie, it was kind of out of place at first, because I just think of Sigourney Weaver when she's talking. I'm like,
the first couple of lines she had, I was like, that's weird.
A little weird, but I think the way they're going with her character, it makes sense.
Yep.
They need to have some sort of wise, because when she talks, she seems like a sage, or like somebody that has wisdom.
Yeah.
And if you cast like a 13-year-old in that, it's not going to really
hit
with where I think they're going with her character. So I think it was a smart choice at the end of the day.
Well, let's get into spoilers. You recommend it. I recommend it.
I do. Yeah.
Go see it the best possible way you can. If you can find some theater ads, or some theaters should know if it's a high frame rate 3D, go see it in high frame rate 3D, because the image will be brighter. That's another reason for it. And reason why they probably just doubled it up to keep it consistent. But see it in high frame rate, it'll be a little bit brighter. And if you can see it in a real IMAX, not your multiplex that says IMAX, but a real IMAX, they're usually found at museums or Navy Pier.
Yeah.
Some weird ass location.
They're always somewhere weird.
Go find a real IMAX and watch it in it, if you can. If not, high frame rate 3D. If not, theater. If not, your phone. If not, your iPod Nano. But yeah, let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Everybody died.
Everyone did.
No. But
Pandora blew up in the end. They're all going back to Earth. Welcome to Earth.
Will Smith stars.
Yes.
Avatar 3. This time it's personal.
Yeah. Avatar 3. What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
The way of the slap.
Yeah. Well, let's just start with the story itself. So I think, all right, so Jake and, what's her name? Jake and... Natiri, thank you. Jesus. I'm going to butcher these names, by the way. I just know Loak is the middle son.
You know I'm going to be butchering some fucking names.
You sure are. You fucking ingrate. So they're together. They have a bunch of kids. So I'm trying to get this straight. They have 3 real kids, and then Sigourney Weaver's character was immaculately concepted with her previous avatar somehow, which they never really explained.
Oh, you don't need
in the movie.
After watching the first one.
Okay.
And
so you have insight into it?
I have insight. So if you remember in the first movie, Sigourney Weaver's like mortally injured.
And
they take her to the tree. And they put her avatar there, and they try and do the consciousness transfer from Sigourney Weaver's body to the avatar. And they say, oh, she's too weak. And so they can't do it. But her being ends up going into the tree.
Yep. Okay.
So, she's too weak. We can't perform the transfer. Blah blah blah. Or like the Mother Earth or Iwa or whatever. The mother's Awa. Said it's she's too weak, can't transfer her consciousness. She's going to die, but she'll be with the tree. But yeah, I think that's when it happened. Is when they either Sigourney Weaver did it, or it was just a weird side effect, or Awa, whatever, Mother Earth did it on purpose.
Okay.
Because, I mean, and then that's why Kiri, Sigourney Weaver's new character, can do all those things like talk to the
she has
not
the force.
talk to the animals, but yeah, she has the force pretty much.
So is she? Do you think she's a reincarnation of Awa?
Either that, or she's just going to be more. Well, yeah, I mean, she could be like a Neo character.
Yeah, she's the one.
And I think that's what they're going to go with her character for, which I'm for that. And I hope it's her character that kind of gets more of the focus as time goes on. But I could also see them just not relegating her to a side character, but more of a support, to where it's always going to be about Jake's family, but she'll probably be like the Billy badass of the family that always bails them out of some shit.
Everything,
which is fine.
Yeah.
And I will say, as much as this movie is not as remarkable story-wise, Disney needs to hire James Cameron to at least write strong female characters.
Yes.
Because he wrote three strong female... Four. I mean, every single female character in this movie is really good.
Yeah.
And it's not
pretentious.
It's not pretentious. It's not patronizing. It's not hitting you over the head with it. They're just real characters, each in their own unique way. And
they don't belittle a male character to rise above, to make their character stronger.
No one else is made to look like an idiot compared to the other one. They all act like real. Like, for a better word, they all act human. I mean, they all act like real people. With feelings and fears and like ambitions and everything else. And it's and Nataria, especially like towards the end when they lose their oldest son dies, and she just gets like that dead stare.
She doesn't care. Yeah,
it's
pretty good.
Awesome,
pretty good. And that's another thing this movie had that Disney is lacking is stakes. There's stakes in this movie.
It's like, people can die.
I called it too. I was like, okay, that son needs to die. That makes sense because he's just good. He's good-hearted, and so what would amplify this story a little bit to give it some stakes is if they actually, because the story. So back to the story, they have all these children now. They have two older boys. They have the immaculately conceived Sigourney Weaver, and then they have a young daughter. They're fighting a resistance against the humans because some humans. Okay, so they sent the humans off at the end of Avatar 1. A contingency was left behind to because they were good people and they were still researching.
Yeah, the scientists.
The scientists.
Yep.
Humans eventually come back with reinforcements, right? Because they still have issues on Earth which they haven't foreshadowed or told that story yet, which I'm sure they will in the sequels. They come back with more firepower. They're like not here to get the unobtainium, wherever the fuck that mineral was in the first one. They're there to like terraform the Earth.
Now it's like brain juice.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking brain juice from the whale. But they're gonna. I think the plot for the sequels is to terraform Pandora too, so that it makes it livable for Earth because they're saying the Earth is dying. So I'm assuming that's
they said the same thing in the first one. Is like we destroyed her,
right?
And when he was talking to the tree,
right? So that's where they come back, and Jake is still Tarak Makto or whatever, the leader of the forest Avatar people, leading the resistance against the continuing invasion of the humans. He realizes they're not going to stop, and his family's in danger. And they're going after him, so he thinks to himself, all right, I want to protect the Na'vi and my family. I'm just going to remove myself as the leader and try to run away from everything, and hopefully they don't find me. Because it's a giant planet, so I'm going to go hide wherever I can. he ends up picking this
Bahamas.
1,000 islands.
Fijis.
Yeah, the Fiji Islands. He goes to the Fiji Islands, in a timeshare with with this other complete set of Na'vi, which I thought was a pretty cool creative choice. Where different race of Na'vi people look different, adapt to the environment.
I like the
in.
design of them too.
Yeah, it was
because
great.
the first thing you notice is they have that Michael Phelps swimmer's neck.
Yeah.
Like they all have that frog neck.
That's right. They're
thing,
jacked.
and then they got
lats,
slightly not webbed hands, but
forearms,
and their tails are a little bit wider to help direct them in the water. So.
They're green, which is kind of cool. It's like algae. It's like their sea algae.
Yeah, it's more of like a sea foam green kind of color that makes them blend into the water a little bit more, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, they live with the sea people. They hide out there. And then this is where the story is kind of similar, where it's they
don't belong.
It's the fish out of water.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't belong. They learn the way. It's the same thing that Jake did in the first one, and then eventually the humans come and attack where they're living, like they did in the first one. So storyline, beat for beat, kind of the same movie at that point. But they add the family dynamic in it. They add it's more centered around the middle son. I think he's the main character for the most part, and then this spider character, he's another. Yeah,
I couldn't.
Let's talk about Spider a little bit.
Yeah.
So Spider is
the character from The Good Dinosaur, the human boy.
Yes,
that acts like a dog.
That's exactly right. He's like fucking the character from Land of the Lost, Chaka.
Yeah.
He's like Chaka. He's got dreads the whole nine.
Yeah.
But he was left on Pandora. Apparently, he's the son of Quaritch, who's the Stephen Lang's character, which they never explained that plot hole. Who was he banging to impregnate? And who had the kid? Who's his mother? Who no one knows. Yeah. Anyway, he was
the military. If we
it was a conjugal visit, baby.
Is probably just.
Oh man. So they don't explain really how he's conceived or all that.
Yeah.
You just know that he's the son of Quaritch, and then can't go back to Earth because you can't put a baby in hypersleep. So he stays.
Yep.
And he becomes the adopted son of Jake and Neytiri.
Yeah, they kind of reference him like a pet almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he's very. I don't know. He's just kind of around. Like he's
kind of around.
Close friends with Carrie, Sigourney Weaver's character. He's just kind of like the cousin almost.
Another fish out of water aspect of this story.
Yeah,
same thing.
And he lives with the scientists, but he pretty much hangs out with the Na'vi. Same kind of thing, I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
we can call him Chaka.
Yeah,
Spider Chaka. Yeah, but. So that's the movie in a nutshell. It ends with like we said, the oldest son dies, so there's some stakes there.
Carrie finds out that she's able to manipulate or at least communicate with life forms in a different way than what other people can.
Right, correct.
And there actually one of my favorite shot was right before she was picked on by the children of the chief of the Fiji Islands.
Yeah.
But it's just like a close-up of her face,
yes,
like looking in water.
Yeah.
And like that whole shot, when that shot came up, I was like, God damn, that looks good.
I know.
Like,
it does.
It looked really, really good. That's probably one of my favorite shots.
Yeah.
Just stood out to me. But yeah, so Carrie finds out that she can she's really good at communicating with other living creatures. Plus, she's an epileptic. She had a seizure when communicating with their spiritual tree, which is located underwater.
Yep.
Because she found Sigourney Weaver in the tree, and they were talking. And then she asked who her dad was, and then Sigourney Weaver freaked out and
had a seizure.
But yeah, and then at the end you have Jake Sully and Neytiri being welcomed, saying, "Oh, your son is
your sea people now."
Yeah, your sea people now. You're home, and he's like, "That's when I knew I was home." And I'm like, "You said that in the last movie."
I know.
Like the next one's going to be the foundation of fire, and then he's going to go to like a volcanic orange Na'vi people.
That's right.
He's going to get his badge of honor from there. He's like collecting Pokemon balls.
Yeah.
Or it's like Zelda, where he's
Yes.
collecting the Triforce.
Yep.
At the end of the 5th one, he's going to like combine all the powers and Captain Planet is going to erupt from Pandora.
That's what.
It's fucking Captain Planet.
That's right.
So he's got water.
Right. He's gonna need fire next.
He's got earth with the forest.
Yeah.
He's going to need fire,
Wind.
and definitely he's going to need some fucking heart.
Yeah. A lot of
which
heart.
is the worst one. That heart. Thanks. Go sit down.
Yeah. Just calm down. We don't need you right now.
Yeah.
You just sit down.
Oh, good. Look at the birds are flying in a V. Good job, heart.
Thanks, heart. I hate heart.
But yeah, he's gonna collect all these different badges, and then he's gonna
He's gonna be the super avatar.
combine all of his Power Ranger
Yeah.
robots. but yeah,
Yeah.
so that's more or less.
He's gonna combine all these different Na'vi into like one super. Fucking Guillermo del Toro's gonna come in. Hey, you made Pacific Rim. Come in here. We need you to create this damn thing for us.
Which I think we can touch on theories later, but yeah. That's the basis of the story.
Yep.
So
I think it ended well to set up because the way it ended made me interested in the next movie.
Yeah.
At least their stakes. They now he understands that you can't just run away. They're going to find you no matter what. And look what running away got you. Your son died. So I think they're going to be more aggressive in terms of how they're going to fight the battle with the humans whenever they're aggressive. Be more proactive, maybe. They're probably going to unite the tribes around Pandora. They're going to realize it's a global threat, so you can't just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah,
you have to plan it out a little bit.
And maybe that's what the next movies will concentrate on, is them being more into like it'll be more of a journey kind of a story to where okay, we have to go here. Where is it? It's on the other side of the planet. Yeah, and we need to do that because of whatever kind of a thing. I can see it turning into that. They did leave it open, obviously, for more sequels, and the writing kind of lent itself to that. They had some unanswered questions, like you said, and kind of makes you want to watch the next one. I like that, but I don't like that. All right. Just because I would like it to be a complete movie. Okay. Which, I mean, I guess it still is in a way, but, I mean, I don't know if it's just because I'm exhausted from everybody writing a franchise, but I get it. They already shot another one, and there's going to be 5 total. Yeah, it's fine. At least it feels like he's planning ahead, and I'll know after watching the 3rd one a lot better than what they did with Star Wars, to where
I think so.
Oh, let's just make it up as we go along, to where at least hopefully he got the whole story out as far as where it was going to go before he made the 2nd one.
Right. And the studio wouldn't have, I hope they wouldn't have greenlit this thing if he didn't have some sort of structure, some sort of blueprint of the story and where it was going. Oh, and I found out the $1 billion budget, it's for all 4 sequels. It's $250 million a sequel. Yes.
That's it?
Yeah. So this whole thing
is pretty cheap.
This whole thing about it needs to gross $2 billion.
Well, I knew it was.
I mean, no. I think it made $500 million worldwide this opening weekend. So it already broke even. It was like
400 something.
It already broke even for this one movie. So I think they'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, that and they already made the next one.
I know.
They're not. I mean, they're not Warner Brothers. They're not just gonna can Batwoman or whatever the fuck they're like, oh, we got this finished movie, release it? Nah. But we just put it on streaming. Nah, fuck you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think James Gunn might have something to say with that.
Yeah, because he's
fucking putting the axe,
putting the hammer down. He just killed everything.
He got rid of Henry Cavill. Man.
Which is fine. I think Henry Cavill would have been a good Superman if they shouldn't have had
Zack Snyder do Man of Steel.
Yeah. You can't have the most depressing fucking person
do
one of the most hopeful characters ever created. It just
I agree
work.
with you. Yeah.
But anyways.
But we digress.
Yes.
What were we saying? Oh yeah, $250 million a movie. That kind of makes me happy because I was worried that. But it didn't make sense for it to be $1 billion for just the one movie. That's kind of ridiculous. So I'm happy because I think it's safe to say they're going to make all these sequels because they're going to be profitable. They will be.
And I hope overall the story, I can see this.
It could go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I can see it just kind of being, okay, it was a story for 5 movies and the visuals were cool.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. You at least want the story to live up
I'd
to...
like because I could see it, I could see the story slowly getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he was doing a slow burn on something, but I don't know. Part of me thinks he's just so in love with these visuals that...
It's kind of second, it's kind of just, not an afterthought, but it's behind the line of effort.
Yeah. I don't know. But
well, what do you think he's going to do with Quaritch? Do you think he's going to have like a Darth Vader redemption story?
Yeah, so this is what's going to happen.
All right.
No, it's not going to be a Darth Vader redemption thing.
All right.
So
they shouldn't do that. That'd be stupid.
So here's what's going to happen. He's going to keep trying to reach out to Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And Quaritch will not be the main villain next movie.
Okay.
He's going to be there, but he's not going to be the main threat. He's going to be trying to reach out to Spider. And then Spider's going to kind of, in some way, they'll be contacting each other. And then at the end of the third one, Spider's going to go and live with his dad, Avatar Quaritch. And then that's going to break Kiri's heart. And that'll be the thing in the fourth movie. Like, oh, Spider. And then Jake and Terry aren't going to give a fuck. And then it'll be the whole Romeo-Juliet thing. And then eventually Spider will, Quaritch will do something. And Spider will say, oh, fuck off. Because Quaritch will go against Kiri or something to that effect in the fourth movie. And then Quaritch will be the big bad again in the fifth movie with whatever newfound thing he has. So that's what I think is going to happen with that character.
Do you think there was a love aspect between Kiri and Spider?
Definitely.
I thought it was more of a brotherly, sisterly thing. Maybe
really?
I just missed it.
I thought it was a more... I think they liked each other, but I don't think... They couldn't really show it. I mean, I think that's...
Maybe they'll develop it a little more in the first half hour of the third one.
Something. I mean, I felt like it was more like young love or first crush kind of stuff, because it didn't feel. I mean, Spider with the other guys, they felt like cousins.
Mm-hmm.
With Kiri, it was, I don't know. It felt like it was a little bit more than just brother sister kind of a thing.
Well, if they go that route, how awkward do you think that acting is going to be with 73-year-old Sigourney Weaver and 20-year-old?
I don't know. She killed it in this movie.
I know.
But that's what I didn't pick up brothers. I mean, it could be that, but I feel like they were set in, I don't know. It felt more like young love or puppy love kind of.
So you think it's gonna be more of a Spider's going to be kind of cast out from the Sully family. The Sully family. He's going to go back to Quaritch.
Yeah.
Because he's accepted by him.
Yeah.
But then he realizes that Quaritch is still a dick.
Yeah.
And he's not an Navi. And he doesn't give a fuck about
Pandora. Because he's going to choose. He's going to be in a position where he's going to have to choose between Kiri
and Quaritch.
Or his dad. Right. And he's going to choose Kiri.
Yeah.
Because... Which, I don't know, that whole storyline in this movie, I felt was just weird. But, I mean, obviously they're setting up for something later. But
yeah, you love who you love, Jay. That's the whole thing.
No, just him, helping out the humans and stuff. And I'm like...
Oh, you mean... Oh, just that whole aspect of it?
Spider, doing that. I'm like, that's... He can't, he knew who his father was.
Mm-hmm.
Ahead of time. He knew what the Sky people were capable of, and then they try to torture him a little bit, and then, of course, Quaritch tries to do the good cop thing with him, and I guess he never really totally was all in helping them. He was kind of more hoping to minimize the damage that they did, I guess, but I don't feel like he would go against people that he grew up with as a family so quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No, I agree with you. They didn't really set that aspect of it up very much. Yeah. Why he was helping him out so much. Yeah.
And I think he's going to have, I think there's probably going to be obviously a rift between Terry and Spider in the third one. Even though I think at that moment I thought she was just bluffing. I didn't know if she was going to kill Spider or not because I think she made a comment in the beginning of the second movie or beginning of Way of Water was he needs to be with his own kind.
Yeah.
So she was already like not super excited that he kept hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that'll probably be a dividing factor too. And
yeah, kind of like Mowgli from the Jungle Book.
Yeah, or George of the Jungle, or
yeah, Tarzan needs to be with his own kind.
Dreadlocks. I don't know what goes into making dreadlocks, but I imagine it's a process, not something that just naturally happens.
It's a process, especially if you're white.
White.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're of the Caucasian persuasion.
Him running around in dreadlocks. I was sitting there and I was like, "Are we okay with this?"
Yeah.
Like I was like, "This is like
it's culturally appropriating the Na'vi."
We're approaching
Bastard.
the line, but the other thing, one thing I did have an issue with was the dialogue.
Yeah.
When, especially between the kids when they would say bro
or bitch.
Or did they say bitch?
Yeah.
Really?
Come on, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called a punch, bitch. That's what he said.
Oh yeah. That when they said bro, cuz, and I felt like I was watching Too Fast, Too Furious when Paul Walker was walking around like an asshole. The whole movie was like, hey brah. Because they had
I'm not your guy, buddy.
Tyrese Gibson in there, so he felt like he had to add some streets to it.
I get what he was doing. He was trying to convey that he learned that from his dad, Jake, and that's how he talked.
Sure.
They picked up on that when they were growing up.
And that's one thing. I think it would have been fine if it was like one thing here and there to where, but most of their colloquialism because they were part of a huge tribe. I feel like they should have done the Star Wars route, because in Star Wars A New Hope, the first one, there was insults and everything else that you had no idea, but from the context you knew what they were talking about. I felt like they should have done that same thing. And I felt like it would have worked a little bit better. It would have been less cringy.
Right. You talking about like the Nerf herder? You Nerf herder.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but man, she must not like him.
And then Bantha fodder, and
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I know what you mean.
So I feel like if they would have done something similar to that, and they could still sprinkle in like bitch. Everyone like just throw like. Someone gets super angry and like a word comes out like
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
To where, okay, he got that from his dad.
Yeah.
And I figured that's how they would have talked that way, or gotten to talk that way, was from his father. But I felt like it was just too much. There would be a piece of their mother with them too.
Yeah.
Or at least their own culture, to where it just felt, it felt like when James Cameron was writing this, he's like, oh, what do kids say nowadays? Oh, they say bro and cuz, because the last time I think he saw a movie was it was probably Too Fast, Too Furious.
Probably.
When he saw Paul Walker running. People like Paul Walker.
Yeah, well, at least they didn't say this water's on fleek.
Oh, fucking Christ. I forgot about that.
That's what I would have tapped that. Like, all right.
The fleek of water.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No,
Let's
the
stop.
fleek of fire.
Yeah.
That's the third one.
The fleek of fire?
Yes.
Son of a bitch.
But, I mean, that was a gripe that I had. It was just that I wish they would have incorporated a little bit more just random words that would have represented the same thing.
Yeah. I think they need to dive deeper into Quaritch's motivation, because I don't want to say I'm getting tired, but it's getting kind of I don't understand his motivation anymore. So your only motivation is to just kill Jake Sully and just why do you care so much?
That I felt that way when as soon as they overtook the boat, the whaling ship. like, oh, are you commandeering? Because they talk to the general, Edie Falco's character.
Yeah.
Like, gives him carte blanche on this shit. And
Carmela Soprano.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I thought. I'm like, ooh, it's Soprano.
Yeah. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, they are wasting a lot of resources to kill this guy.
I know.
Like, what's the point? Is the point because if we cut the head off the snake kind of a thing?
They're just going to quit?
Yeah. Which, because that always happens.
Right. Yeah.
Or
Yeah, killing the leader's not going to rally the people, is it? Not at all.
So, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, they're going very far out of their way to kill this one person. Like, what's the reason? Now, it would have made sense if Edie Falco said, okay, here's what you're supposed to be doing, and I think it would have worked a little bit better if Quaritch figured out, because it was almost like he was already aware that Jake Sully killed him, or because when he was watching his video log of him giving it to him, he's like, oh, if I don't return, blah, 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 we're going to...
It's because I died.
Yeah, it's because I died. And it felt... Yeah, it didn't feel like he would go out of his way to do that. It just... Yeah, it does feel a little forced. Or a little over the top, like...
Yeah. Well, hey, say you're the CEO of whatever company is supplying all these ships and shit and giving the military all these resources to terraform Pandora because the Earth is dying. Mm-hmm. And your main mission to achieve that goal is to, like you said, cut the head off the snake so that Jake can't lead this uprising so we can do our thing and colonize the world. You know, relatively ease-free. So what we're going to do is we're going to recreate the guy who failed the first time and bring him back along with his gang of Marines that failed the first time. We're going to give him a second chance.
Because Avatar bodies are so expensive.
Yeah.
We can't get another scientist and have a new Avatar created for a scientist. We're going to get a dumb old Marine.
Yeah.
We're going to just let him use it because his twin brother was a scientist.
So not only are you greenlighting the same guy who failed the first time, you're greenlighting the same approach. Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't just go balls to the wall and fucking try to kill all these people. Let's try it, I don't know, diplomacy.
Yeah.
What can we give them? How do we diplomatically solve this problem that we're having instead of just blatantly going and fucking everything up?
Yeah, I agree. They need to... I hope they expand on that.
They need to.
Because I feel like when they were walking through that little city that they had, it was like, oh, these little crab bot things can build like massive things in hours or whatever.
I think it was like 6 days or something.
Yeah, 6 days. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was like, why are they fucking with these people over here?
Right.
Like, just keep building and building and building. Eventually, they're not going to be able to fuck with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a pain in the ass, but it's like, how about you get set first because you guys are moving? Like, it felt weird. But yeah, I hope they explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of human element. I hope they go to Earth to kind of explore this dying Earth aspect of it. You need to have some sort of redemption arc for just humans in general because there's not a lot of redeeming qualities in the humans in the first two. I mean, you have Sigourney Weaver in the first one and then a couple other scientists, but this one, I think it's just Spider maybe, but the other humans in it aren't really redeeming.
Yeah, you had Spider, you had the two scientists from the first one, the guy from Inception and Grandma's boy. See you later, turd nuggets.
You're fucking weird.
You had Jermaine Clement.
That's right. That's the other one I was thinking of.
He was like the opposite of the ship captain. But yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of conflict on the human side of we need to have a different approach here. It can't just be let's just go in here and fucking kill everything because it's not working out.
Which maybe part 3 will have a Paul Reiser style character from Aliens that you think is good, until you realize, nope, same kind of.
The same kind of dirtbag. Yeah.
Um,
I think that's where it's going, though. They're going to try to terraform Pandora because you're not going to walk around in breathing masks the entire time. If you're going to migrate the human population, you're not going to have masks on the whole time. You're going to try to terraform the planet and then that in turn could kill the Na'vi, right?
Yeah,
because their atmosphere is different.
I'm wondering if they're going to do anything with the aging brain juice, the de-aging. It's like, oh, it stops aging. Like, it just stops it. It's because I'm like, oh, well, they'll probably use that for space travel.
Yeah. For
when they want to bring a shit ton of people over here, they can use that to have people last the trip.
Yeah.
One thing, I mean, we mentioned length.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is a little long. Parts of it felt like a tourism commercial. Like I was waiting for like the sandals to like show up and be like, book your resort now.
There's like Navi in the background with like all you can eat buffet. And they're just sitting there eating. Like, coffee, please.
They're scuba diving and
they're paddleboarding. Yeah, and like waving
swimming with their whale friends. Sandals, book now.
There's a wedding venue. A couple Navi are getting married. Oh. Yeah, no, that's true. It did look like because even the bungalows, I was like, that's like straight out of Sandals.
Yeah, because and then the first Avatar had that too, to where it's just jerk off shots of scenery, and because was it Star Trek, the motion picture did a lot of that.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
It was just like it's rough. It's just long shots of the ship. Because I mean, technology had advanced. By the time they made that movie, it was just like, oh god, we spent all this money on special effects. Let's have a 45 minutes of slow pans of this fucking ship and show every single angle. And I felt like the first one was a little bit like that. The second one was a little bit like that. And I hope it kind of cuts down on that. I mean, it's great to see. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Release it in bonus features. Like instead of like a 4-hour aquarium, be like, hey, here's a bunch of random shit we had that we cut out because we wanted a tighter story.
That's where I think you can cut out 30 minutes of the movie. A lot of the panning, long
just people
shots,
swimming and like
cut out like a minute of them swimming with the fucking dog whales or whatever it was.
And I get wanting to linger on that shit. But at the same time, I feel like that would maybe make people want to watch it again, or maybe want more of it, because you want people leaving wanting more instead of just deluging them with shot after shot after, like, just I mean, I don't know. There's pros and cons to it, but
I did like the final 30 minutes, like when it built up to that action scene. That was really good.
Yeah,
really well done.
When the ship was sinking and they were inside, and they had the I mean, that looked phenomenal.
Yeah, it was really good.
But that was also, they didn't have those long lingering shots.
Yeah, it was like quick.
Like, hey, you're editing it like it's a movie. And but yeah, the first half of it felt like just like a tourism video or like National Geographic or something like that.
Immerse yourself in the wonders that I'm showing you right now.
Spa treatments available every day.
Yeah.
It's probably because I saw the first one when Quaritch was doing his video log, and he's like, all right, so if you're watching this, I'm probably already dead. And he starts talking a little bit. He's like, blah, blah, blah. What am I supposed to say in this thing? What do you want me to say? Like, I think Jake Sully did that 15 fucking times when he was doing one. He's like, what am I? It's a video. It's a fucking diary, man. You're reporting. You never wrote a report? Like, what happened to you today? Just say that.
Yeah.
I hate that. But then they called in Giovanni Ribisi to dump up all the explanation, like
all the exposition.
Yeah, he's like, oh, here, this thing has your consciousness, and I'm like, all right, just say you're uploading your memories. We get it. Like, it's not that far fetched anymore.
Yeah, no.
I feel like people would have grasped onto it, but some of that hand holding is, but
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I hope on the next one they move away from the fish out of water stuff. Like if they go to like you said, they're gonna go to the tribe of fire. Like, all right, if they do that or whatever piece or aspect of that story, like the fish out of water
We
stuff.
don't trust you. You're water people.
Exactly. We gotta stop. We're done with that. That's played out. I hope they don't do that anymore. We've beat that fucking horse to death. It's dead. Like I said, I think they should explore more of the Earth. They need to have some human characters in it to kind of give them some sort of arc. Because the movie's not going to end with the people killing all the Na'vi. It's not going to end with the Na'vi killing all the people. There's going to be some sort of medium here. If that's the case, you had to have an arc for the other side of the story.
And saying that depends how much they time jump.
Yeah, I think there will be a time jump.
And if they do, I can see humans coming to colonize in like the fourth movie.
Okay.
And the fifth movie, at the end of it, humans and the Na'vi learn to live together.
On Pandora?
Yep.
I thought that was a possibility.
As nature.
I was thinking maybe they'd have...
Like in harmony. Like humans aren't fucking up everything. It's more... and it's not even so much like seclusion. Mm-hmm. It's more... They create a homeostasis environment.
Right.
And... is that the word? Homeostasis?
Yes, that's right.
The
homoerotic.
Homoerotic, that's it. Everyone,
everyone's gay for each other.
Yes. Paradise, floating mountains. I don't even know what that means. But yeah, I could see the ending that way to where they have a symbiotic relationship.
There it is.
That's it.
That's
what homeostasis is. Chemistry. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
It just means unstable.
Word's dumb.
Yeah. Homoerotic. Right, the scientific term.
But I could see that kind of being a thing. But if that, like you were talking about an arc for the humans, I feel like it would be in the later movies. Mm-hmm. Or because I feel like you would have to have colonizers there or enough people there. And then you would still have the corporation or whatever trying to do its thing, and then the general people are just like, "No, this is ridiculous. We're not. Mm-hmm. We're not doing that."
The same thing we did.
And they just kind of rebel against them too, where, and then it's just at the end, it's just a symbiotic relationship.
I think you'd have to. There would have to be a rebellion at the humans. Like, okay, all right, this old shit that ruined Earth. We can't have you a part of this. Mm-hmm. Or if the Na'vi are like, we can't have you on Pandora because we know you're going to go back to your evil ways and we don't trust you. So I was thinking maybe, this is probably pretty stupid, if they do one of two things. They learn some sort of technology on Pandora that they can then placate on Earth somehow to like reform Earth in whatever way. Or to kind of flip Avatar on Avatar, they have a Na'vi avatar into a human body to transfer their knowledge and technology from Pandora onto Earth. Like they go with humans to like repair Earth or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I like that. I like it a lot because they go back to Earth. They find the one living tree. Like so I put my dick in this. You got all these humans just trying to fuck these trees. It's not working.
What'd you tell them to do? I told them to fuck these trees. They're doing it. I'm just fucking with them. I'm going to keep doing this.
Not going to do anything? No. They're fucking a tree. Why would they?
Or they go back to Earth and they just destroy it. Like, fuck these people.
It's James Cameron's final fuck you to the audience.
Yeah.
Na'vi just go and just kill humanity.
Yeah. Or they go to Earth and then there's a fucking egg and it's a fucking xenomorph. Avatar 5 ends with the fucking egg and the face huggers. Alien Covenant. Avatar.
The way of the egg hatching.
Yeah. But I probably think they're going to end with what you were talking about, the homoerotic.
Yeah, homoerotic existence.
Yeah. That could work too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, there would have to be an end game, and just them pushing off the humans.
That's not gonna
work.
No.
We're too persistent.
Yep.
We don't take no for an answer.
There's some redeeming qualities in humans.
No.
You don't want to go to a movie and be like, they just fucking killed us? Can't wait to go home. Feel good movie of the year.
Daddy, why did they?
Yeah. Daddy, they killed all the humans.
I don't like the Na'vi.
Fucking blue people.
Have you seen any toys?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
That's strange.
Well, of course, I'm not hanging out in the toy aisles at fucking Walmart. But
Jay's like, yeah, I have.
you should see them. Life size.
I was there the other day. Wait, no.
9 foot tall fuckers just standing in the aisle.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen any toys. You would think that.
Because I think the first movie had some merchandising or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember. It's not like Marvel. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Merchandising.
Merchandise. Yeah.
Terminator 2. I had.
Oh yeah, I did too. Remember that?
And RoboCop, and so I mean.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not that this is an adult movie or anything, but
No.
True Lies, I don't think had stuff. Titanic definitely in it. But the first.
This is
Aliens
Jack.
did.
He dies in the
Aliens
end.
did. Aliens definitely had
It
merchandising.
did. Yeah, it did.
Send in the Marines. It was like the tagline for all the commercials. I remember.
Game over, man.
Game over. Yeah, I don't know if they have any toys or not.
I don't know. I have no idea.
No, that's a side note. That has nothing to do with here.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with it.
No one cares.
No.
Guys, just stop. Hang up. We're
Yeah.
done. We're done with the podcast. See you later.
So, what did you think of Jermaine Clement's American accent? It was kind of weird because I wasn't expecting it.
I thought it was. I thought it was fine considering right next to the captain of the ship, Scoresby.
Mm-hmm. I got a quota.
A quota. For his Moby Dick storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine. That's one thing I do wish they would have done with the humans and have like maybe a different accent. Like, you ever watch Firefly?
Yes, I haven't seen the first season. The first couple episodes, though. Yes, I've seen it.
Okay. But with like that and Serenity, that it's far enough in the future, and I think there was like another civil war, a galactic civil war or something. But there was, like I think China kind of took over everything, so it was a kind of way to get around the censors. So whenever someone would cuss, it would be in Mandarin or Chinese.
Ah, gotcha.
And so they would go back and forth between English and Mandarin for some things, but everything looked like it was in Mandarin or an Asian written language and everything. And to where they didn't have to do that in this, but I feel like it would have been... I think it would have been clever to like have different accents. I mean, they created the Na'vi language for this movie. I think developing not that everyone has to have the same accent, but just a slightly. I didn't mind it.
Are you talking about? You're talking about for the humans, not the Na'vi.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just because I mean it's what like 2135 or 21
something like that.
60 now. But yeah, you're going to. I didn't mind it. It didn't blow me out of the water as far as his accent. It didn't.
It was surprising to see him. I didn't realize he was in the movie.
Yeah, it was.
It's like, oh, Flight of the Conchords guy.
It wasn't until a second shot to where I realized
it was him.
Who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because first shot I was like, he looks familiar, and then it like cut away to something, and then it like went back to. I was like, oh shit. Yeah.
I mean, James Cameron is pretty blunt with his whaling scene. It definitely makes you hate humans. Jesus, that whole scene is like brutal, killing these peaceful animals and.
Yeah, they brought back the same song from when they killed the tree.
Did they really?
One. Yeah, like when it has that bird's eye view of the whale just like laying dead in the ocean, and then it had the score kind of come in. It was the same score when the tree fell. So I wonder. My guess is probably going to be either a fire penis or an elephant that gets killed. And then it'll just be like that same kind of score.
The same score.
Or like a volcano and they just plug it up. And like, and then the score comes in.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else is environmentally bad? They already did the rainforest. They did whaling.
Yeah.
It's like a dodo bird or like some random butterfly or something. It'll be like the last one. Just like farts out of existence. Then the score comes in.
They're going to go to the North Pole in Pandora. There's going to be a bunch of fucking like
that's what they're
polar bears.
Hey, yeah, the Way of Fire. They're going to, all this ice is just going to start melting and then the score will come in.
That's right. That's the fire people, right?
Yep.
Because they have to know what fire, you have to build it because they live where it's cold on Pandora. That's what it's going to be. There's going to be a bunch of like Pandoran polar bears.
Here's a twist.
Going to be floating on a glacier out in the middle of nowhere and just sad.
Here's a twist. It's not going to happen, but no, it could.
What's that?
Pandora is Earth.
Earlier.
Way back when.
Oh, so this is like from a galaxy
to Earth.
a long time ago?
Yeah, except it's Earth. Like a lot of years ago, right here.
Right.
It's Pandora.
It's so
even though they already said Earth in the first movie.
Right. But what if this is a prequel to that new Adam Driver movie, 65? Have you seen that preview?
I have not.
So Adam Driver is like a human that escapes whatever planet he's from, crash lands on Earth 65 million years ago during the dinosaurs. So he crash lands on Earth because he's on like some exploratory mission or whatever. And he's on Earth fighting dinosaurs with like his son or daughter or whatever.
He didn't go through time?
No.
He's just an alien.
He's just an alien he's supposed to spawn humanity because he's...
Oh.
So maybe Adam Driver is
and his name is Adam, like Adam and Eve.
Like Adam and Eve. Yeah, see? So maybe Avatar's a prequel to 65.
Could be.
Could be. Yeah. I see where you're going there.
He shows up with his super broad shoulders and tiny head.
Yeah.
And they're like, get out of here, weirdo.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so 65 seems pretty... I don't know. When I saw the preview, I'm like, this is like Jurassic World.
I have to
Jurassic
look up
Park.
the book. There's a book that has that storyline.
Oh, really?
To where a spaceship, I think, crash lands on Earth, and a colony of people just started.
Oh.
And it's what created humanity.
Gotcha.
Because like all that technology and everything, all that information would have been lost within a generation. And they had to turn into hunter-gatherers and then...
Like the show Ancient Apocalypse?
Yes. Ancient aliens.
Ancient Apocalypse. Yeah.
The fuck were we talking about?
I don't know. We were talking about how the sequels are gonna... What's the plot lines for the sequels and stuff? I'm trying to think of any other flaws I saw. I mean, the biggest one I think is just... I think this movie could have been elevated if Sam Worthington wasn't the lead actor.
Yeah.
Because like a John Krasinski, like someone that can convey being like a family man and like experiencing the loss of a child, protecting it, because John Krasinski did such a good job in the Quiet Place, conveying that emotion, and I think Matt Damon obviously just has more range. Because in the scene where the son dies, Zoe Saldana just eats that scene up when she's like crying, and then Sam Worthington's kind of just stoic and looks down. I'm like, come on. Anything else?
Yeah.
You got anything in there to kind of convey, hey, your son just died. I think I do more than just stare at the ground nonchalantly.
And yeah, I mean, I think that's the big. I don't know. Yeah.
And then in the follow-up scenes after his son dies, and he's, confronting Quaritch, and he's like, "I'm just gonna keep coming after you." And then Sam Worthington, the way he delivered that line, like, well, let's do it.
Yeah, let's get it done.
I'm like, all right. That could have been done a little bit better. Come on, guys. You had 13 years. Could have rehearsed that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't want to say he's not a good actor, but I mean, I haven't.
I'm sure he's
I'm sure he's fine. I haven't seen anything that he's. I mean, I've seen him in this, and I've seen him in Terminator Salvation.
Another great movie
where he literally plays a fucking robot.
Yeah. I saw him in Clash of the Titans. He's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no less range than The Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, The Rock doesn't have range.
Mm-hmm. It's. Yeah, but The Rock's kind of charismatic.
He's charismatic, but like I don't think The Rock could play Jake Sully. He doesn't have that emotional range.
I just imagine him and Kevin Hart running around Pandora.
I know. playing Jumanji.
Kevin Hart would be like a 4-foot tall Navi. Or he'd play
This is my sister Kira. Or Lukey or whatever her name is. Oh wait, sorry, Kevin. My bad. Hey man.
Never threw a guy in the water with a backpack.
We all know that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. It's the character's tough. He is what it is, and but I like Carrie's character.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nateri, I feel like would be a better character to be the main character.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think so.
But
I think they're gonna focus a lot on Kira though. She's gonna be like Neo. She's gonna have the one.
Or if they just do it like an ensemble cast, like it just focuses on the family.
Yeah.
And then each one, like, because as they get older, then they could each be doing different things or going to different places, and they can kind of split it up that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know. I still think these movies are weird because it's just hard to connect with the story. Is it because the story is bland, or is it because the character sucks, or is it because it looks realistic and we're trying to root for these people that, I mean, granted, it's easier to root for them in the second one than it is the first one.
Yeah. It's tough to relate to because the humans are so evil in the movie.
Yeah.
You can't project yourself as...
And you want to have that desire to put yourself in the main person's...
movie.
Yeah, in the movie.
Somewhere in the movie.
And I don't know if I'd want to be a Na'vi.
No.
Like same reason as like the Hulk. Like that's why I said the Hulk movie has never really worked, is because nobody wants to be the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be Harry Potter or Luke Skywalker or whatever, like Neo. I mean, they want to be that person to where I mean, Keanu Reeves in The Matrix is pretty bland, but it works because you'd want to be him.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Worthington in these movies is pretty bland, especially in the first one. And you don't want to be him because he's kind of a douche. Like, he's a fucking idiot. And I feel like if he was more compassionate, or he was a more sympathetic character, I feel like it would have been. I mean, just because he's in a wheelchair, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, it doesn't make me feel sorry for you. Like, oh, I mean, it doesn't give you a right to be
such
a dick.
A caring heart. I mean, I don't care if you can't use your fucking legs. Lots of people can't.
I mean, it's not like.
I don't want to cry over spilled milk.
Well, it's what Christy said in the movie. She's like, kind of tugged at the heartstrings a little bit with the son dying. It's like, of course. I was like, the only other way that they could have gotten an emotional reaction, I was waiting for them to bring a puppy out and just fucking murder it on screen. Like, hey, you hate this character yet? Or you feel bad for somebody? Like, I'm surprised they did that with the whale.
They did.
Like, oh, a talking dog, and you're dead.
I was just going to say that's going to be the third one. They're going to be hunting puppies.
But
what do? We pluck out the puppy eyeballs because, it makes the skin glossy.
Yeah. And I feel like that maybe that's what the first one was missing, because you didn't have a chance to be invested in the character. because the movie just starts. And just because he's in a wheelchair doesn't make me immediately sympathetic to him, because he doesn't show any other redeeming qualities. Now, if they introduced his character, I think there's some deleted scenes or something of him getting kicked out of a bar. I keep seeing like yeah, like I saw like a screenshot of him like laying down on the ground outside of a bar or something like that. But I feel like they should have stuck with his character. I feel like a little bit more before they introduced him into this whole thing, because I feel like that would have at least get the audience to be on his side first. Like, get invested in the character, then take him on a journey. Don't throw the audience right at the beginning of the fucking journey, and then the only thing you really see of him is him being an idiot and a dickhead.
Right.
Maybe that would have helped it to where still have him in the wheelchair, but at least kind of like show what he used to be able to do when he did have his full use of his legs, more so than just being, oh, I was a Marine and I got injured in the war. Okay, that I guess too bad, so sad. Kind of, it doesn't make me invested in your character,
right?
And that's not Sam Worthington's fault. That's James Cameron's fault for not getting the audience hooked on that character. Maybe that I feel like maybe the movie would have been a little bit better because he could have still been a Marine, he could have still gotten injured. But he just could have been a little bit more than one dimension.
Right. You could have seen him, what he was like before all that stuff. He gets injured. You become more emotionally invested in his story to the point where you want something good to happen to him. Mm-hmm. And if you had that backstory, yeah, you'd be a little bit more emotionally invested in it.
Yeah, because
you aren't really at the start of it.
Yeah. And they could have done a scene. They could have shown the scene with him, the accident happening to where he lost his legs, to where because I think he said in the first movie, he said he was in either Venezuela, Argentina, somewhere, and because he mentioned it with Quaritch, but they could have showed him there with the civilians in that country, showing him interacting with them and how he's just good with people,
right,
kind of a thing. And then just an accident, like a bad luck fucking thing happened, and maybe that pissed him off, and that could have taken him away from. I mean, maybe either have it to where it pisses him off to where he doesn't trust outside people then anymore, which would lead him more into wanting to do things for Quaritch in the first movie and saying fuck the Na'vi, but then eventually he opens back up to who he was before with the Na'vi, to where he values that relationship more so than getting his legs back, kind of a thing. Because that's supposed to be the defining moment, because he's supposed to want his legs more than anything. And you don't really get that. You just get that he's kind of a dummy that likes to smack shit around in the forest and jump off cliffs and shit and shoot animals. It's like, I don't know. They could have done so much better.
They had 3 hours to do it.
Yeah, I know. They didn't have enough time. But
not enough time and money.
But I feel like maybe that would have helped his character in the long run, to where, and I think that maybe that's the point. People didn't have enough time to emotionally invest in his character.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest drawback.
Maybe that was a decision creatively. They were like, we need to spend more time in Pandora with these excellent visuals. Yeah. That's what the people are coming to see.
We need those money shots.
Need them. Well, I heard the cut for Avatar 3 right now is 9 hours long.
Fantastic. God damn.
Jesus.
You can tell that story was tight.
I know. 9 hours.
What the hell happens?
I don't know. Poor editor. I don't even know. Jesus.
See, that's the thing. Like, they could have, if they could have tightened these up to like 2.5 hour movies.
Oh yeah.
And then you do the Peter Jackson thing.
Yeah, extended version.
Yeah.
Nice little 4 hour.
With massive amounts of bonus. You leave people wanting more.
Yeah.
And then you just unload on them. It's
a giant load.
Just giant loads everywhere.
Yeah. You could even have a special IMAX screening of the extended version if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would go.
Yeah, have each one be like 3.5 hours or
Yeah.
something like that. 3.5 times 5. 17 and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
Is it?
16 and a half.
16?
Mm-hmm.
Something?
Oof.
Do that in one day. God, your ass would be sore. Fucking bed sores.
Fucking hate Pandora. I don't want to look at it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Well, anything else on...
No, end of the day, I recommend it. The visuals are amazing. It's well worth your time to go see it in IMAX. It's really good visually. Story-wise, you know, some gaps it could have filled, but otherwise, I thought it was better than the first one. I think James Cameron has continued his streak of making sequels better than the original. So there you go, boy.
Yeah.
He didn't disappoint.
I hope they keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was better than the first one. It's fun to watch in theaters at least once.
Yes, I agree.
But I hope they continually get better, because I'd like it to be a story to where by the time I get to the end of the fifth one, that I'm like, man, I kind of want to go back and rewatch everything.
Yeah. I'm happy too, because my fear of them not making all of them because of budgetary concerns or profitability, that's out the window now. It's going to be fine. I think we're gonna get all 5 avatars.
It would have to eat serious shit for them, I feel like, to not. It would just have to be a continually downward thing. And I think with this movie, I feel like the general consensus is this is better than the first one.
Yeah.
So as long as you're moving in the right direction, I think they'll just keep making them. Unlike like Fantastic Beasts, the first one was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. The second one was like, what? And the third one's like, Jesus Christ. And then the third one, like, yeah, we're fucking done.
The third one, everyone was like, there's a third one out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been out for 2 months.
I recommend it. It looks good. It does get a little
little long.
like little touristy. Come visit Pandora.
Yes.
But the acting, I think, with the exception of a couple of people, I feel like, Zoe Saldana and Sigourney Weaver, fantastic. Edie Falco's okay. She doesn't have much to do.
She's
Jermaine
not in it very long.
did good.
Kate Winslet's not even in it all that much.
Who did she play? She played the chief's wife?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Fiji Island chief wife, yes.
Okay, the one with the whale friend.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that did not want the Sully family there.
Yeah. Bitch.
Did you hear she held her breath for 7 minutes underwater? Broke Tom Cruise's record.
I like to imagine James Cameron was just holding her head underwater
I know,
until 7 minutes came. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna get this fucking record."
You can see it in the movie.
James Cameron's head. There's just like a handprint. It looks like the Uruk-hai in Lord of the Rings, the white hand of Saruman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I recommend it. I mean, like I said, it was good enough to where third one comes out, I'll go see the third one.
I will.
And I was, to be honest, going into this, I had the lowest expectations.
I did too.
We dropped the girls off at my parents', and my dad said, "You're going to watch Dancing with Smurfs?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we had to drive a ways to get to the IMAX, and it was a 9-hour, 10-hour day.
Yep.
And I was just like, in the morning, I was kind of regretting my decision. I was like, God damn it! I was like, I'm gonna waste a whole day for something I really don't want to see.
Okay.
And that, I think, is why it put in my mind. I was like, if this is just bland, I'm fucking done. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna watch another one. But it didn't do that. Pleasantly surprised me. So now the next one, I will gladly drive to the IMAX.
Right.
And,
I will gladly drive.
This I feel like I could rewatch more so than the
first one. Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, I think it's going in the right direction. It's still not like, it's not going to blow your mind as far as story, but the characters, most of the characters I feel like are better characters than the majority of what's been coming out recently. And at least it had even though the story was bland, at least it had a lot more thought put into it than 99% of the stuff that's been released in the past 8 years. So
I thought they set up enough story arcs to make the third one interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're giving us some story possibilities. I just hope they don't J.J. Abrams mystery box it to where, fuck it, kind of a thing, because I think he divvied up the script between several people.
Okay.
Like each movie had a main writer for
Gotcha.
whatever, but they kind of acted as a writer's room. So we'll see.
I'm sure James has final say, though.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's going to be like, no, we're not. That's not going to go in the story.
That's too amazing. Have him say it blandly. No, do it, do it slowly.
Yes.
So, but no, I recommend. Yeah.
Yep.
Better than the first one.
Absolutely.
We'll see the third one in 2 years.
At least we don't have to wait 13.
Yep. No? Anything more?
Nope. I think I'm good.
All right. Well, join us next time. It's next time, everyone, will be our last podcast for 2022.
It will be.
Because the new year.
Because there's not enough days left.
Yeah. We follow the
Mayan calendar?
Julius Caesar calendar?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
The Roman Catholic. I don't remember.
I don't fucking know. We do the January through December thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so next week will be our last one for 2022. So we will be talking about our top 5 best TV movies, or best movies and TV
of the year.
So not necessarily the best thing that came out, but more likely our favorites.
Yeah.
So as far as what we've seen too. So we're not going to be
what I've seen
again with the with what we did with the worst. We're not going to be talking about things that we haven't seen, with the exception of Rings of Power. Couldn't be helped.
Right.
These are things we saw that were released in this year that we liked.
Yeah. Because I don't know if I'll be able to watch like Babylon or The Fabelmans before we do that. So those probably won't be on the list.
Yep.
Even though they might be after I watch them.
Have you seen The Whale?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I want to, though.
And that's...
I know.
Probably be a good one.
The trailer was... Did you see the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Sad Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
He should have been fucking Jake Sully. He could have
done a good job. Yeah.
He could have killed it.
But the trailer had me like emotional. I'm like, Jesus, this is the trailer. I wonder what the movie's gonna be like.
I'm sure it's just gonna be a ball of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be so uplifting.
Feel good movie of the year. It's a bait and switch. He gets a job at SeaWorld. But yeah,
he's in the Avatar sequel, swimming around.
He plays an iceberg.
Yeah. Oh, fat jokes. Yeah.
It's all right. They don't listen.
We're big people.
I'm fat too. It's okay. But yeah, join us next time. We'll talk about our top 5 best movies and TV of 2022. So, and always, don't forget to comment on our episodes. Write your email if you have any questions, any comments, and all that good stuff. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for listening. This is not. It's only in hour 45.
That's not bad.
Yeah. You could listen to this 3 times.
It's easy.
In the time it takes you to watch Avatar.
That's right.
So, all right.
Until next time, Jay.
Until next time, Matt.